Okay, so can you just tell me a little bit about yourself really quick?
So my name is Yusra. I am originally from Morocco. I grew up in Qatar, and I am currently getting my Master of Business Administration at Drury. I did my undergrad at Drury and studied biology and chemistry, and then I loved it so much that I decided to come back for a fifth year and to get a master's in something that was completely not my area or my major or my degree, whatever.
So can you tell me a little bit about like your transition from coming, from Qatar and Morocco, and then coming to the United States, like kind of how you fit in or didn't fit in, kind of how that transition was?
See, at the beginning, I was like really scared because I knew I was going to a country that has complete different culture, religion, even language than my own, and so I was like really nervous, but at the same time super excited. Once I got here, my first group of friends was mostly the international students because we go through orientation together, and so it just like makes us bond, before, and we get there like a week before Americans get to move in, and so at that point we already have our groups of friends and have people we can count on, and like we're schedule our classes together. So at the beginning of my time at Drury, I was constantly hanging out with international students, and not that I hated Americans or anything. It's just like I just felt comfortable, and I kind of, even though they're from all like different countries, I just felt that since we were both like all international, it just made us closer automatically. So in the beginning, it was I didn't have a lot of interactions with Americans, but after a while, I was like, you know what, I'm here for a reason, is to embrace American culture. If I wanted, to be friends with Germans, then I should have gone to Germany, and so I was like, if I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna have to learn about Americans, embrace their culture, and all of that. And so I decided to step out of my comfort zone and reach out, and they met me halfway, and they were very interested in me and my culture and how different our cultures were. So I never really found a problem fitting in. And what I enjoyed the most, especially at Drury, is that they never expected me to be like them. Like they accepted me for who I was, and it was okay for me to be an international student. The awkward part was just like me willing to step out of my comfort zone and then meeting me halfway, and once that happened, it was great.
Awesome. Okay, can you tell me a little bit, you kind of touched on it, but could you just tell me like a little bit more about like the disconnect between the two communities? So like I feel like a lot of the internationals talk about like coming to America and not really ever branching out to the Americans. Like I feel like you're more outgoing, so that was kind of easier for you to do. But for those students that don't have that personality, I mean, what would be a way that they could be kind of transitioned in a way that's like more easy for them or more comfortable?
See, I like how Drury has, like, as I said, that orientation just for international students, but I feel like, for example, I know for a fact that my core class was only for international students, and that's I think where they, like, Drury goes wrong a little bit. I understand that they want us to have that comfort of having, other people that are similar to us, like, but I also feel that American students are also leaving home for the first time. So we just expect them to welcome us and to reach out to us because we're strangers in their countries, but we don't think or realize that they're strangers and like new at this college thing as well, because they're moving out from home and it's completely different for them. So I feel like Drury should do a better job at connecting us more, maybe by mixing our core classes for us to connect, and I don't know, other ways. For example, during orientation, my whole group was an international group. You know how you have like those fun games where you compete against other orientation groups? I feel like those should be mixed up. So because you're like, hey, you just like remove the awkwardness and you reach out and you're like, I have a class in this or like my major is biology. My major is also biology. Hey, like let's be friends, and like you find a way to start communication. But the fact that we're like separated it makes it hard for both like Americans and internationals to reach out, because the American student is probably sitting there and thinking, oh my gosh, that international student is so cool, they hate me, I'm only, so it's like it works both ways, but you just don't think about it until you experience both sides, I guess.
So like whenever you guys like initially come to America, you said you guys have your own orientation, or like how does that work? Because you were talking about like the core classes, like how you think those should be mixed. Do you guys have like your own little thing before you dive into the core classes? So then it's like, yeah. Is there that initial?
So basically, we come in to campus 4 to 5 days before Americans get to move in, and so like we're picked up from the airport, and we're the only ones in the dorms, which is super creepy and super scary. There are like 2 of us in like a whole dorm, depending on what day you arrive to, to the United States. And then we have orientation together, and we get to do extra activities to, where Drury tries to make us embrace the American culture. I remember my freshman year, they took us to Lambert's, I think, because they wanted them to throw rolls at us, and I was like, oh my gosh, in America people throw bread at you, how weird. Okay, whatever. And so like we get to do things, I guess, that introduce us to the Springfield culture and to the American culture, which that part I understand, that international students get to do it together. But I feel once Americans move in, then we should, like, our group should change a little, so we can like mix with them. And then core classes, I had core with Charlene Ingerson, which she is the greatest. I love her, and until today I always like reach out to her and ask her if I have any questions. But my whole class was full of internationals. I didn't have a single American student in my core class, and I feel like it should be a little different. Also, I know that you get to pick and choose your roommates, kind of. But I feel like international students should not really be forced to live with Americans, but like they should encourage international students to live with Americans more than like give them the option to live with other international students, so they can. I mean, what is the point of coming to the United States if you're not going to learn about the American culture? You know what I'm saying? So.
Okay, so I have one more question. So my last question is, do you think that I feel like you're very involved in the American culture and you have a lot of friends here, but do you think that there are students, like international students, that kind of go through college and they don't really get involved with the American culture, or do you think that it's kind of inevitable? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
So the American culture will hit you sooner or later, and if you don't adapt to it, it's when you get homesick and you honestly don't make it. You will, like, if you refuse to interact with Americans, if you refuse to embrace their culture, if you refuse to learn about it, then you're just not going to want to stay here anymore, and then you won't make it through like your 4 years of college. So it is inevitable for you to hit it at some point, so might as well do it since the beginning, and like form this group of friends that will help you. Because for example, we do not celebrate Thanksgiving. Other than Canada and the United States, nobody else celebrates Thanksgiving. If you don't interact with American friends, international students are not going to celebrate Thanksgiving. So if you have like an American roommate or American friend, American sorority sister, fraternity brother, they're going to take you home with them. Same for the holidays, same for the breaks. If you just crave a home, especially if you live in the dorms and you're craving a home made meal, you just have to reach out. So I think if you are going to make it, you're going to have to face it at some point.